Welcome to the
Thank
podcast in the
Thank
south
you.
of France.
I love it. So peaceful.
It is peaceful. It is a haven and a place where I can reconnect,
Yep.
and hopefully friends can reconnect with
Yeah.
themselves as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So, first of all, would like to introduce you briefly. You are the gorgeous, amazing human Shani Pride, a new friend of mine that I met recently, and we really connected.
Feels like years.
It feels like years.
Yeah.
I felt like, oh my God, I've met my sister.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
sister I never had.
Literally. There's no way I just met you.
I know, right?
Maybe in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very strange and interesting and fascinating when that happens, because I meet a lot of people, and it feels like I've met them for the first time.
Right.
Even if I have a really amazing connection.
I agree.
But then I felt like, oh no, I know you.
Yeah. Definitely.
From somewhere.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
So that was just like blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then the more amazing thing was that a few weeks earlier, one of my investors and a dear friend now,
Yeah.
and a former client, yes, she was my client. She had said to me, you have to meet this amazing woman, Shani. And I thought, okay, great. Whenever that happens, that'll be wonderful. And then I guess it might have been 10 days later,
Yeah.
I met you at the summit event. She didn't know you were part of that community, and you were just coming into this community. And then when you said your name, I was like, I've heard that name before, and I couldn't remember who had said the name.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until we were halfway through our chat and you went, Roisin. I went, yes, that's right, that's who it was. So the fact that someone who I adore and respect immensely
Same.
said that.
Yeah. And vice versa. It said that about you, which was just so amazing that we gravitated toward each other.
Right.
Which is why we were meant to meet,
Yes.
for sure. And our souls have known each other, and we have a connection.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited for our journey together. Tell me about who Shani is. And where are you at right now in your journey?
Right. I would call myself an impact-driven storyteller. I've always been a storyteller. I'm technically a writer and director, and I make film and television and short content, but all of that for the purpose of affecting change and for harnessing the power of media, of creativity, of stories to enlighten, inspire, educate, shift, provoke thought, and all those beautiful things. So I'm a storyteller at heart. I'm purposeful, I'm impactful.
Okay.
And yeah, I love to align with the storytelling part of me.
And in your journey as a writer-director, where you are now, what's different to the beginning of that journey to now? Like, how has it evolved? And obviously I want to kind of dig into the spiritual side, but I'm sure that has an impact, that whatever journey you've taken, on how your work has evolved.
100%. I'm very spiritual, first and foremost, and I bring that essence to my work as well, not directly, not sort of on the nose, but in the essence of who I am. It shows up in my writing, it shows up in the way I capture moments, and particularly visually capture moments. But I started in front of the camera and evolved to now being behind the camera.
So you were an actor?
For years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for many, many, many years. Started very young in high school, went to High School for the Arts in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Which was an incredible, rigorous, very prestigious program, and then went on to UCLA Theater School and started acting before I even finished school. I immediately started working as an actor, and I loved it until it became too small of a container for me, actually. And I started to feel this deep desire to expand and to have more agency around the stories that I was participating in. Because as an actor, you have no agency. You're told what to say, what to wear, where to stand, where to go, how to do it. And the writer and director really is the one that, it's their story to tell. So I was around a lot of writers for many years, very successful writers, and they would always say, "You're a writer." And I would never embody that or take that on because I was so much trained as an actor, like in all the best teachers across from Europe to LA, New York, everywhere. And so I thought, I'm not trained as a writer, so I'm not a writer. And then I finally embraced that part of me and trained with all the prestigious schools. And then I realized that because I was acting for so many years, I already knew story arc, I knew character arc, I knew 3-act structure. Like I knew all the things, I just didn't realize I knew them. And so I just fell into it so effortlessly. And directing was the same way because I worked with so many directors. And because I am an actor, I know how to work with actors and connect with them and pull out really dynamic performances. And I speak that language. And so it just was so naturally the next step for me.
When you say naturally the next step, surely it wasn't an easy step to take.
No, definitely. It's none of it's easy.
What process did you go through internally, spiritually, in terms of like coming to the decision, I'm going to now move into the space of writing, directing? Is that, and how was that a struggle for you initially? Was that, did you just go, it's time, and then you moved into it? And
there was space because it happened as COVID was happening.
Okay.
So I had a pause, as we all did, and time to sort of explore that, because we weren't doing anything because everything shut down. The industry, the film and television industry, definitely shut down. No one was doing anything. So it was the perfect time to actually write.
Yeah.
And so I used that as an opportunity to see if it was something that I would take to and would resonate in my soul and in my spirit and in my heart, like acting did for so many years. And the transition, it's like everything in life. The hardest part of the transition was deciding to say yes to it. The moment I actually said yes, it was love at first sight. I'm naturally very good at writing. Like my friends would always say, you're a writer. And I finally understood why they said that, because I would read their scripts and give them notes and analyze, and they were like, you think like a writer. And then the same thing for directing. Like Sundance actually was the one who told me I'm a director. They're like, you write like a director.
Wow.
You write so clearly and vividly. You can see your stories. And so you write in pictures. So you are the one who should be directing your stories. And I was like, I'm not a director. Then I tried it and I loved it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And what were you directing? Your own stuff? Or
My own stuff.
Okay.
So first I started with just directing a scene. You know, I wrote a scene and then I directed it with Sundance, actually.
Okay.
And the moment I stepped into that space and the moment I was in that space with the actors, it just felt like home. I knew, like, this is for me, for sure.
It's a real gift to be able to discover or find or remind yourself of the path that you're meant to be on.
Right, it's true.
And I think quite a lot of people, myself included, struggle with, what am I meant to be doing here on this planet?
Yep.
In this lifetime?
Yep.
And I used to terrorize myself, and I don't say that word lightly. I terrorized myself because I didn't have I don't really know what career I'm supposed to be in, and I don't have a specific talent for something that I've discovered yet. And I was like, okay, but then I probably about 15 years ago, I was like, terrorizing yourself doesn't serve a purpose.
At all.
At all.
Right.
So let's just stop.
Yep.
We're just flowing through life, and the purpose, if it's supposed to come to you, it will.
It'll emerge.
And it emerged.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So now I'm walking that path.
Yes.
So it must feel amazing to be able to find that purpose at any time in life.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's later in life. And then you start to explore that and pursue that. So I mean, that's really exciting that you did that.
Yeah, I'm such an advocate for purpose-driven lives.
Yeah.
And I do think that everyone has a purpose in this life, and most people don't find it, which is really sad for me, because I think if people were standing in their purpose, there'd be less violence, there'd be less projecting, there'd be less fear-based actions, there'd be less of all the stuff that we don't like about the world that we're navigating, and more of the things we do, because people would be connected to themselves in a way that would pull them away from things that are just distractions from who they really are at their core. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that fear of either being judged or not even the fear, the reality of people judging them
Yep. Yep.
can stop people from
100%.
pursuing their purpose.
And just fear in general, like we're taught from such a young age to like get this kind of job, get married, have kids. Like there's all this like stiffness around life, that if your purpose is to go off and be a photographer in the wilderness, you know, it's like some people don't even know how to, well, A, I have a family, or B, how am I going to do that, or what are people going to think of me, and be judged by judging themselves, other people judging them, society judging them. And it's sad, because it's like, what's it all for at the end of the day, right? If you're not really aligned with how you're living your life, really.
Yeah, I hope that the young generation is embracing their purpose earlier.
Yeah.
Because it took me a while.
Yeah, and I think that that's normal. I think,
and it's not. Yeah, it's okay.
It's not like, I think for me, finding my purpose in my high school years is an outlier.
Yeah.
I think most people. This is why I think even in college, when they're like, you have to decide what you're going to do with your life and choose a major. When in your 20s, you're still exploring. You have no idea what you're going to do and be in your 20s, most people. So, and I think it all leads to where you are. So you finding your path that you're on now, which is so beautiful and resonating with so many people, you needed everything before to get to where you are now.
Which is more reason why people should give themselves grace.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's when I stopped terrorizing myself.
Yes.
And gave myself grace.
You were building the foundation.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And even me, I acted for many years. That was the foundation for, and I'm still open to acting in my own projects, but I was not meant to just be an actor. Like, the universe had so much more in store for me that I was not ready for at that particular time. But I was learning everything I needed to learn and evolving in ways I needed to evolve to be able to step into the positions and roles that I'm in now.
Yeah, and that path is not always, it's almost never a smooth path.
Never. Never.
Which brings me to my next question. Did you always consider yourself a spiritual being? You know, there's a quote that says, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Mm-hmm. Did you always know something like that in yourself, or did you come to that?
I started really exploring that around high school. And I think being a creative, at least for me, aligned itself beautifully with that. Because I'm the type of creative that goes within to create. And when I go within, I always go to like Mother God, you know, like I go to the universe, I go to nature, I go to these very spiritual things. And I feel like the act of creating, whether it's a flower being created or a film being created, I think is a very spiritual process for me. Not for everyone. So for some people, it's very technical.
Yeah.
Or biological or what have you. But for me, it's very spiritual. So I think my spirituality has definitely evolved as I've grown older and I've traveled the world and experienced all these different spiritual cultures and practices and principles, which I love. Like, I love traveling for that reason. Going to India or Bali or Mexico City, all these places that have a very deeply rooted spirituality.
Yeah.
And that has just shaped me as a human being, as an artist, as a soul moving through this world.
Do you have a particular attachment or fondness for a particular tradition or practice in spirituality? Do you combine, and like, what is your, do you have a practice? Do you practice anything on a daily basis? Do you have any traditions or schools of thought that you are more aligned with?
That I subscribe to. I would say I don't align myself with any particular religions, but if I had to choose a religion, it would probably be like Buddhism. That type of way of being and way of life is what I mostly gravitate toward, and meditation is a huge practice for me. I love crystal work, which recently I've like fell into. I went to Merida in Mexico, and for some reason there, in the cenotes, and I just all of a sudden started gravitating towards crystals while I was there. So now everywhere I travel, I get a crystal or three, 1, 2, or 3 crystals from that particular region. And then meditating with the crystals, I use a lot of mantras. I read everything from Wayne Dyer to Deepak Chopra to all everything in between.
Yeah.
So I absorb a lot of sort of spiritual teachings, but from Kabbalah to you name it, I just kind of pull things that universally I think are beautiful practices that everyone can benefit from.
Yeah. It's interesting with the crystals. It's something that I am curious about from afar.
Yeah, so was I.
I'm also what I am curious about is how have you found that crystals impact you? Do you feel a tangible difference? Because I always wonder. I used a crystal once. It was given to me when I was in deep depression, and I was hospitalized, and someone gave me a crystal as a gift, and I had no idea what to do with it, but I had it by my bed. And over time, that crystal changed from being clear to cloudy, as if it was, and I would hold it against me, and it was almost as if it was pulling out the whatever was toxic that was within me. And I still have that crystal, and I clean it, but that was the closest I got to any kind of work with it. What impact do you feel it's had with you?
I do think crystals are palpable. I do feel the energy of a crystal. And what I find really interesting, so whenever I go to a place in the world, I feel like, at least for me, crystals choose me. So I'll gravitate toward a particular crystal, and then I'll look up its significance and meaning later.
Right.
And it's always aligned impeccably.
Really?
With whatever I'm experiencing at that particular time in my life.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So especially if I'm in a very challenging moment, then and say I'm trying to write, for example, then prior to writing or during writing, I'll just hold the crystal, keep it with me, or I'll meditate with it prior to starting my day or prior to moving into some form of creativity. And I find it really does what it's supposed to do.
Really?
Yeah.
In terms of maybe some of your other practices that you have in your life, one of the things we call this the healing hack, which is about, if hack is an acronym, it stands for healing, abundance, connection, and knowledge. So the idea of being able to build your own healing toolkit, your own spiritual toolkit, because what works for you may not work for me,
100%.
but it might work for someone else.
100%.
So I think it's what I want to be able to do is to share other people's experiences with their own personal spiritual practices that other people may be interested in, that may be, whoops, nature.
Yes.
and that they might be able to incorporate into their own practices. So what practices do you do? Do you have 1, 2, or 3? And how do they impact you? So we've got the crystals.
So crystals is one. Meditation is big for me as well. And I know for some people are intimidated by the word meditation, as was I for many years. And my way of approaching meditation is just stillness. You can meditate anywhere at any point, at any time, in any moment, in any place. And so when I say meditation, I mean constantly making an effort to be still. And particularly if I'm reacting to something or overwhelmed by something, or needing to find peace and serenity, I try to start my days with meditation. And as we know, like when you're traveling so much,
it's hard.
All these rituals go out the window, and
so hard.
It's so difficult to stay consistent. But I know for a fact, if I start my day with meditation, I have a far more productive, more peaceful day than if I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really powerful.
Yeah. Anything else that you do?
I love like mantras. I have these decks where like I have a healing deck, for example. And I love pulling these cards and then reading whatever is on it. And always, like the crystals, whatever card I pull at that particular moment, it's always speaking directly to something that I needed to hear, I need to be reminded of in that moment. So I will meditate and then sometimes pull a card, read what's on the card, and then sit with, in meditation, whatever comes up on that particular card for me.
What is there a particular deck that you use that you would share? Do you remember the name?
I think one of them is called, and don't quote me, but I'm like 90% sure Matt Kahn is this healing deck that I actually bought when I was in LA, when I was going through a very difficult moment. And it's like a light blue colored deck. And I think it's literally called the healing deck, or the healing mantras, or something along that line.
Okay, I'll look it up and hopefully add that into the show notes.
Yeah.
And when you bought the deck, did it instruct you to activate that deck for yourself, or did you just immediately just pull?
That's a good question. I think there is a little like pamphlet that comes with it. I'm trying to remember, it's been a few years now, but I think intuitively I was in a season of healing. So I knew anything related to healing, I was, sign me up.
The reason I ask is that when you have things that are for you, like your crystals, or let's say you read tarot, or you wear a talisman of sorts, that they're usually activated for you.
Right.
Right, so that becomes your energetic connection and link. And I've seen that with tarot cards. I have my own talismans that I wear. In fact, I just rediscovered one yesterday that was given to me by my mother, and I hadn't worn it in a long time. But that we did energetic work to attach that to me. And some of the decks that I have, I sit with before I use them, and will do energetic work around that deck, so that that deck is really for me.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, personally, anything spiritually related, energetically, I'm either drawn to it or I'm not. So I was drawn to that deck
Okay.
because it was what I needed
Yeah.
at that time. And the same with the crystals, and the same with a book I may read or a podcast I may listen to.
Yeah.
I'm very attuned to where my spirit is trying to take me versus not trying to take me. Even when I travel and I walk into a temple, like some temples pull me in, some don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think for me it just sort of happens organically. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I guess the other question that I have for you is, are there people or organizations that you're more drawn to in this season of your life now that you've, I'm not going to make an assumption that one is fully healed.
Right.
I always think we're all healing.
All the time.
Always be healing.
Always be healing. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Right.
Yeah.
So in this season of your life, are there certain teachers or traditions that you are aligned with?
That's a great question. It's interesting because there are seasons where I am fully immersed in like spiritual work, healing work, growth-based like self-realization type work. Like SRF is actually comes to mind, Self-Realization Center. I don't know if you know, or Self-Realization Fellowship. So Yoganandi, do you know Yoganandi? Yeah. So in LA, there's this place called Lake Shrine, which was Yoganandi's, one of his centers. And again, that was a practice that really pulled me in deeply. And what I love about them is they embrace all religions, all practices. It's very inclusive, and he was really powerful. So he has a book.
Is it Yogananda?
Yes.
Yogananda, the autobiography of a yogi. Yes.
So
okay,
that was such a beautiful, probably 20 years now. I've been going to that center. When I went to India, I visited one of his centers in India. He's from India, so I visited one of the centers outside of Delhi. And so there's times like that where I'll be so immersed in it. And then there are times like this, which is a very interesting time for me, where my creativity is my spirituality, in the sense of I'm pulling all of these things that I've experienced in my life, heartbreak, moments of success, what have you, and I'm sort of harnessing that power through what I'm creating, because the goal is to help others and help others find themselves, work their way through difficult situations, be enlightened, etc., in ways that I can help do that. Not to say that I'm some guru, but like that is what's really calling me spiritually right now. And of course I still meditate and I have to stay grounded in these things, but there's a deeply rooted connection to that at this particular time.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we need that in the world. I think we need more stories that help people to connect with themselves, to learn how to build the resilience to work through the difficult times.
Yes, 100%. And stories are ancient. They're the oldest form of teaching, right? Back to like literally primitive, humans, where through stories they would tell people where to get food and where the lions were and where not to be and where to be. And so it was always that for humanity, and it still is in such a powerful way. And I don't think people often realize how powerful the stories that they consume are, whether it's through social media or film or television or news media or whatever outlet you're consuming, but it affects you. And we talked about this.
Yes.
It really affects you, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as we were talking about the pandemic, for me, I had to turn off the news because it was too overwhelming. And for the first time ever, even watching films around, there seemed to be a lot of films and podcasts around and TV series around murder.
Yeah, look, there are a lot.
And it's that I still do not find that entertaining.
Right. And as humans, we are drawn to that, right?
Yes.
There's something about that it's like watching a train crash.
It's morbid
You
fascination.
can't look away, but when you don't understand how that's affecting your soul, that's where it becomes precarious. I think even Victor was talking about how he can't watch certain things right before bed, right? Because it affects your sleep, your dreams, the way you wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I could only, I call it puppy dogs and rainbows.
Right.
That's all I can consume.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And during the pandemic, when I had launched Dark Beauty Healing, we were giving away free therapy to women of color. It was really intense. It was really intense. It was really hard. Also being in the pandemic, and I found that I was burning out. And I said to my team, and obviously we were all remote, I said, I'm going to need to, in order for me to navigate through this, I'm going to need to not be online in the mornings. I can only come online after midday, and I need the mornings to just do whatever my soul tells me to do.
Yeah.
And what I would do is I'd get up, I'd go and walk to the coffee shop, get a coffee, go, and then 2 doors down there's a doggy daycare. And I would sit down, and every few minutes somebody would come out with a dog to go take it for a walk. And they would bring the dog over, because obviously, clearly, I'm a dog freak. And I love dogs. And they would bring the dogs over so I could just give them a little cuddle and play with them. And I would do that in the mornings. And like within a month, my whole being had shifted.
Powerful.
And I gave myself the space to do that. I'm glad I was able to do that.
Absolutely.
Not everybody can.
No.
But I was able to then still, that was the way I had to rebuild resilience.
Yes.
And it sounds like indulgent, but it was true healing, just to play with the dogs and have my little morning coffee and sit outside. And I was in New York, so I couldn't really be in nature, but it did really help. It was simple and almost free.
And therapeutic. And I think we need to like move away from this notion that self-care is indulgent.
Right, exactly.
You know, because it's necessary.
Yes.
And if it takes all day, it takes all day.
Yeah.
If it takes a second, it takes a second. Like whatever that individual needs at that particular time in order to be in the best iteration of themselves, there's nothing more important than that.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that the difficult part of that is that we are still in a culture, especially in America, of you have to work to live. And with the healthcare, with all the things, the jobs that you have to take, because you get healthcare with that job, you have enough money and prices are going up. You know, to live in New York is insanely expensive. And it's really hard.
Yeah.
And so to give yourself that space and that grace to be able to do that healing feels indulgent and hard. And you feel guilty because you should be productive, you should be out there working. But in fact, the opposite is true. In fact, you should be taking care of yourself and giving yourself that time and space. That's the luxury in life, not the brand name.
Yes. And I, from experience as a reformed workaholic.
Me too.
So we're speaking from experience, no judgment. But I have found, and as I've matured in life, that the more balanced I am, the more productive I am. Because when you're burnt out, 10 hours of work is really only 4. 6 of those hours, you're not connected. But if you are focused and sharp and healed and whole and happy and at peace, 2 hours of work could be more productive than 10 hours of work because you're so in it and of it and like connected to it, whatever it is, that it's just like, I believe in this notion of like the 4-hour work week, you know, because I do think that if you structure balance into your life, and that's like emotional, physical, spiritual, like all working out, meditating, playing with puppies, like whatever that is for you, if you work that into your life, you're just elevating at such a high frequency. You're just knocking things out left and right.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like the journey I've been on for the last couple of years when I decided to go down this road is that I made a very clear, very conscious decision that I wasn't going to overwork myself. Because I have a lot of other things going on in my life that I need to be front and center with. And I need to be able to fit it all in and not kill myself in the process.
100%.
And when I made that very clear decision in my mind, and I did my intentioning work around this, the interesting thing is that everything has pretty much magically dropped into place in a way. I've never had to, like, it's never been super intense and stressful. None of this has been. And it was a mindset shift.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was all I did.
Yeah, 100%.
And when I fully adhere to manifesting work. That's one of my major practices that I've rediscovered. Used to do it in my early 20s.
Yeah. That's one for me too. I left that out. That's huge.
Right, doing
Manifestation.
the manifestation work. Tell me
Huge.
about your manifestation work.
I'm with you on that.
Just a little.
Okay. We're outside.
We're outside.
I'm with you on manifestation. I think there's also this mentality around anything that you accomplish in life, you have to work very, very, very hard for. And I'm not saying sit around all day and watch TV, right?
I love that. I definitely don't do.
We're not doing that.
No.
But it is a mindset shift around things coming, because I believe we live in a world of abundance. I really do. And I believe that everything is accessible to us if we are in the right mindset and if we are ready for those things.
Yeah.
And I've always manifested from high school years. I would manifest. It's funny because a friend of mine told me recently, in recent years, maybe the last 5 or 7 years or something, she was my best friend in high school. She's like, I just always thought you were spoiled because everything you said you wanted in life, you got. And she was like, but I didn't realize that you were manifesting these things in your life. Yeah. And then she's like, now I get it. Now I totally get it. And it's like, yes, because I did a lot of vision work, which I still do. And I did a lot of manifesting with everything, with getting into high school for the arts. It was impossible to get into this school. I got into UCLA Theater School and USC Theater School. Impossible to get into these schools. Wow. USC particularly, they choose 12 people out of thousands.
What?
And I would just envision my path and really believe in it, and believe in a higher power that would help me, usher me through these things. And I was manifesting these things that came forth. And I think that's exactly what everyone should be doing.
They should be doing that.
You know?
And there are many different ways to manifest.
Many.
There is not just one way.
No.
And
many.
I love the visioning that you did. Did you do a vision board?
I did vision boards when I
so
was
what
younger.
did you do? What sort of like cutting out pictures from magazines?
I've done that, yep.
And putting them on a poster
Yep.
board?
And then putting it on the wall.
Yes.
And literally seeing it every day.
Yeah.
I still have a vision board to this day.
Do you?
In my closet.
Do you update it?
Not as often as I probably should, but what I've been noticing is that everything on that board is manifesting. So I probably need to now update it to keep that pushing forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, the vision board, I don't take as seriously as some people do. but I have done it
Yeah.
for sure. When I'm in the mood of doing that sort of arts and craft type thing.
Yeah.
But it's powerful.
It really is. And I think when people open up to it, I mean, I sometimes, my kids joke with me, but I'm the woo-woo one of the family. And as soon as I talk about anything remotely spiritual, eyes start rolling. And yet, recently, you know, my son was, you know, talking about the things he wanted in his life and talking about them daily, saying it over and over again, and just listening and not getting in the way. And I think within a few months, he didn't realize he was manifesting by repeating this over and over, like a mantra. And within a few months, pretty much everything that he wanted had actually come to pass.
Yes. Love
and
it.
I just went, that's what manifesting is. And he's like, Mom.
And mantras are a very powerful way to manifest.
Yes.
I love mantras.
We love a mantra.
And mantra, I think, is really powerful for those that are trying to incorporate these practices. If you're going through a very difficult time in your life and you're in a very difficult space energetically, mantras pull you, even if you don't believe it.
Yes.
If you repeat a mantra every single day, you will start to embody the thing subconsciously. That's what's so great about mantras. You don't even have to believe it. You don't have to think this will definitely come true for me. You could be like, this is the craziest thing, that this is not going to happen. And then to your son's and mine and your testament, you'll look up 30 days later and be a completely different person, have a completely different experience around you.
Yeah, really. It's I had forgotten how powerful manifesting was. And my mother had taught me how to manifest.
Yeah.
And in my early 20s, I used to do it, forgot about it when I moved to the UK, got on with my life, and didn't realize that everything I was trying to manifest had manifested with even my move to the UK and my first career, and all of those things were things that I'd wanted to manifest. And I'd forgotten about it until about, I want to say 9 years ago, before I was even living back in New York. I had met up with a friend of mine who I used to wait tables with in New York in the 80s. And she said, Wilma, you know, I'm with the father of my child today because of you. Well, I'm like, what do you mean? She said, don't you remember you taught me how to do this manifesting work and these rituals? I said, I did? She said, yes. And she said, she told me the ritual. She said to me, Wilma, you told me the ritual to do. And I did it, wanted to find the person, my person. And I did. I met this guy. And I thought it was great. That worked. And then realized this guy wasn't the guy for me. They broke up. And she said, I think, if I remember correctly, she said, and I remember you saying you have to be really specific.
Yeah.
And I wasn't as specific as I should have been. So I went back and did it again, and then did that ritual again. And then I am now still today with the man, the father of my child, and my husband. And that was that ritual that I did. And I said, well, you did that work. That had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But brava.
Yeah.
Right?
You inspired her, which is beautiful.
We're going to pause. We have a helicopter. That is one of the.
I saw one
military
earlier. Oh, really?
Yeah, the south of France is a big military presence.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which could mean we're protected in the case of World War III, or
yeah,
could
you
mean
never
that we're
know.
the first ones to be hit.
Yeah.
It
could go either way.
It could go either way. Okay. So all of that to say that the work with manifesting, and so when I rediscovered, that was the beginning,
Right.
that friend's story. But it took another few years for me to really go, I need to start this work again. I think I took it for granted that because it used to come so easily to me.
Yeah.
And then you get out of the habit of doing the work. So when
And I think, just don't lose that thought. I think as we get older, we get more jaded.
jaded, yes.
So when you're younger, you're more optimistic, and we lose that
Yeah.
as we get older, which is really tragic and sad. So there's like this battling of like staying in that sense of awe and wonder and curiosity and endless possibilities.
That childlike nature.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Now I started to really connect with my manifesting work, not just for myself, but for friends. I really wanted, for me, I love having friendships where we're on journeys together, right? I don't speak to friends every day, but when we check in, they're doing work too to move forward in life. They're struggling, but they're doing work. They're figuring it out. They're going, okay, I'm stuck here. How can I unblock this thing? And then they go and do the work, whatever that work looks like. So I love those kinds of relationships.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
And what I started doing when I moved here was I started reconnecting with work around manifesting, but in particular with sigil making. And I started reading about this through the author Aidan Wachter, who is he practices what he calls dirt magic, which I love the idea of dirt magic. He's incredibly experienced witch, and understands many different traditions, and his books are really very down to earth, and which I like, but incredibly, he's super knowledgeable. And so I was really fascinated by this sigil work. So sigils are a means for encoding information into your deep mind, right? It's the manifestation of that. So it's a symbol. And what I've kind of taken what he put in his book and morphed it into some of my own systems. And what I tend to do is I will send instructions to a friend. And I had a friend who was leaving a job and didn't know what his next gig was going to be, and was stressed about that. And I don't know his industry, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I said, but I can make a sigil for you. And he's like, I have no idea what that is, but I'm game for anything. So I gave him the instructions, and what you do is you sit down and you write out in great detail everything you want to call into your life. And when I say specificity is your friend, specificity is your friend. Be incredibly detailed. And it may only be about one thing in your life. It doesn't have to be everything.
Right.
It can be just, I want to call this in, I want to call this in. And then when you do that, you write it down 1 to 2 pages. And then you sit with it for maybe a few days or a week or however long you feel. And then you think, okay, do I need to tweak it? Tweak it. And then the next part of that is you have to then sit with it and reduce it down to 1 to 2 pages. Only using positive language.
Right.
That's hard.
For a lot of people.
So let me correct myself. The first step is 1 to 2 pages of what you want to call in. Then the second step is 1 to 2 paragraphs, reducing it down to 1 to 2 paragraphs, only using positive language.
Correct.
Then you have to reduce it again, sit with it for a few days, tweak it, then reduce it to 1 to 2 sentences, not only using positive language, but also writing it as if you're already living that reality and it has come to pass.
Love that.
So those 1 to 2 sentences from 1 to 2 pages is really hard work.
Very.
Right?
Very.
But it's hard.
But it's also like, and it's, you'll see where this is going, but as an entrepreneur, when you're trying to basically get to the heart of who your avatar is or what your purpose is for your your huge mission of this company,
Yeah.
distilling it down. But we have to do that with our lives as well, right?
Absolutely.
And which to me is like basically getting down to the essence of your purpose, you know.
And mind you, not a lot of people are here for that work.
Oh, it's work.
It's work.
And a lot of people get overwhelmed by this notion.
And one of the things I discovered during doing this for friends was that, and I didn't know this going in, but I started to see a pattern that when it was men that I would give these instructions to, they would come back to me within a week or two, sometimes sooner. They were very clear about what they wanted.
Interesting.
With the women, I would say 90% of the women I've given the instructions to either have never come back to me
Oh, wow.
or took months.
That's interesting.
And what I think it could be is that they're not comfortable yet with allowing themselves to want
Yes.
the
That's
things.
it. That hit home. That's exactly what it is. Because I'm like, why is that? But it's true. I think, women are afraid to desire
Yes.
for themselves.
Yes.
They can do it for their husbands, their kids, their jobs even, but for themselves. And you're right. And I think it does come down to this feeling of either that's selfish or that's, I don't have time for that, I'm busy taking care of everyone else. This nurturing thing that women have been prescribed for far too long. But it's true.
Yeah.
Where men are very capable of thinking about themselves. No problem.
No problem whatsoever.
This is what I want.
Right.
Right.
But then what happened was this male friend, did the work pretty quickly. He was motivated to do it pretty quickly, and he gave me the 2 sentences. And by the time I see the 2 sentences, I don't really know what he's trying to manifest. That's not my job.
Right.
And I don't care.
Right.
But what I then do is that when I'm then in the next energetic alignment, because I travel a lot, getting grounded and aligned in a space where I feel that I can do this work sometimes takes me months. So I tell everybody, you've done the majority of the work by getting down to those 2 sentences. It's already in play. So
yeah, because that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of
sounds
work.
very simple, but it's not.
Right.
Right.
By the time I know I'm in the energetic space, and that usually means I need to be in solitude for a couple of weeks, my diet has to be on point. There's no alcohol involved. Nala, come. Nala, down. So when I'm in that space, then I go into ritual, and I will then remove all of the vowels from those 2 sentences and any of the repeating consonants. And the letters that I'm left with, I create a hand-drawn symbol. And I'm in ritual, I'm in front of my altar, and I'm calling in my people. And when I'm done with that drawing, I send that to the friend, and I say, I send it to them as like a PDF document. And I said, you should print it out, fold it up, put it in your wallet, and or save it as a screensaver on your phone, and then forget about it. Get out of the way. As my mother used to always say, as soon as you finish doing your manifesting work, get out of the way.
Let the powers that be.
Right.
Yeah.
It's now in motion.
Right.
You don't need to obsess about it. Just let it be. Get on with your life.
Yep.
It doesn't mean don't do anything to push forward to get to that goal.
Right. And stay open to the things you need to do to push forward.
Exactly.
But don't obsess over an outcome.
Because then that blocks it. That energy will block it.
Yes.
So this friend of mine, I think I did it for him in like the October, November. That January, he texted me and said, oh my God, this shit's working. I was like, what? Tell me what happened. He goes, we have to get on a call. We ended up not getting on a call until later that year, like July.
Oh, wow.
Because our lives were just, everything was moving fast. Anyway, we hopped on a call, and he said to me, the week after the sigil was done, I got a call from a headhunter who basically said, there's this job going, and the outgoing CEO said the only person who can do this job is you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not in the industry, it was an adjacent industry to one he had worked in. And he said, you can go in, name your price. And it's owned by a private equity company, and they'll give you shares. They want you to grow it, and so they can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And he went in, named his pie in the sky price. They were like, done.
No problem.
No problem. And basically has equity. And he said, I am loving my work so much. I'm having so much fun. This has been such a game changer for me and my family.
Love it.
And it has opened up our lives immensely.
Love it.
We have optionality now.
Love
And he's like, thank you so much. I said, oh no, you did this work.
Mm-hmm. And it is work.
It's work. He did the work.
Yeah.
I just sprinkled a little little fairy dust on top, but that was already, he did it. But the sigil goes to work in your deep mind. And when you, like for me, I have mine on my screensaver on my phone, and I forgot what I wrote.
Right. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't even matter.
Right.
But I see it.
Yeah.
I know it's working.
Right. Exactly.
And so that work, that work is so important, that manifesting work. And then going briefly back to when I started doing this back in the 80s, about 6 months ago, I opened a box that I didn't even know what was in that box. And I found these two notebook papers that I had written on. And this must have been maybe 1988.
Wow.
Right? I was in my early 20s in New York. Anyway, I wrote everything that I wanted to call into my life. It was really immature.
Well, or not.
Well, yeah. But my hand went up to my mouth and I went, oh my God, I got all of it. I'd totally forgotten I'd done that work.
Exactly.
Like the path that I'm on now.
It was all leading up to.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, it was immature, but everything was with a really good heart. And all of that stuff manifested, but I got away from it. So I love this connection to an energetic force that exists, that's, as they always say, the universe is solving for you. What is there's a saying that it's
always working for you, not against you.
Not against you.
Yeah,
if we kind of get out of our own way.
100%. Yeah.
So let me ask you another question, and you don't need to answer because it may be confidential now. But can you talk about the project you're working on now yet?
Yeah, I can. Not in all its specificity, of course, but yes, I'm working on a film that shoots in Italy, mostly in Italy, but in New York and then parts of Louisiana. That's based on my life story that I've told you about. I think briefly I've told you about it, but it's like Eat, Pray, Love meets Erin Brockovich. And it's this love story about self-love, about falling in love with oneself and fully stepping into your power. And, I've experienced a deep heartbreak, which was extremely transformative for me. And so, as one does as an artist, I sort of took that pain and turned it into my passion and my creativity. And so that is happening. And then I'm also doing a television series that films in New York that I'm also really passionate about. And that one is also, it's not a life story, but it's, I relate so heavily to the main character. She's only 16, but she's a prodigy. She's a virtuoso on the piano. She's Juilliard bound. But she lives in Brownsville, Brooklyn, which is a very marginalized community, a very difficult environment to navigate, particularly as a young person. And she loses her father to police brutality. She loses her mother to gun violence. And then she's orphaned at 16. And so she finds herself unexpectedly in this drug world and becomes a highly successful drug lord at 16. But she's navigating the struggle of pursuing her creativity and going to Juilliard and playing in the New York Phil, which is what her mother wanted for her and what she wants for herself, and survival.
Wow.
And it's this difficult path, and will she or won't she, and can she redeem? It's called Brownsville Redemption.
Oh, right.
Can she redeem herself or not? And does she go too far or not? And yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Really amazing. And everything is moving forward.
Everything is moving forward beautifully. Talking about manifesting.
Yes.
It's like, it's all effortless. I mean, I've been in the industry for almost 28 years, so it's like effortlessly falling into place. Their dues have been paid, but it's the way it's all coming together is divine. It's divinely inspired, and I get out of the way, and I just show up, and I'm present to the work and present to the story that needs to be told. I always say that I'm a vessel, and the story comes through me.
Yes.
And I just move out of the way and let it come through me. And with these two projects in particular, and there's other projects I'm working with brands and whatnot on, but these are the two big projects right now that are sort of leading the way. Yeah.
And you're taking care of yourself in the process.
100%.
Good.
Yes.
Do not burn yourself out.
That is not allowed.
Not allowed.
The film is about self-care and
Right.
self-love. I'd be a complete hypocrite. And again, it was my journey of really leaning in and solidifying that. And I've put rituals and practices in place for myself to make sure that I don't burn out, to make sure that I always go back to balance and self-care and self-love and all these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been so wonderful to know you and to start
Same.
this friendship journey together.
Same.
And thank you for sharing today.
Oh, thank you
I
for
really
this
appreciate it.
conversation. It's been lovely.
Yay.
Like you.
Thank you.